everyone. Welcome to We Grew Up Mary. My name is Jorge. My wife Elena here one more time in our podcast.
Number two.
Yes.
So, just to give you a little intro, we're a pastoral couple who got married at 18 and 19, and now almost 30 years later, we've grown through every season of marriage together, from raising children to becoming grandparents.
And from ministry to real life experience.
We didn't just build our life together, we grew up together. And this podcast is about real conversation of marriage, faith, family, and the reality of growing together. So let's just have a chat today. Pull up a chair, join us. We're just going to chit chat a little bit about today's podcast, which
I'm excited about that part because it is about what we get wrong.
You're excited about what we got wrong?
Well, actually, yes, because if you think about it, the only way you know what works and what doesn't work is when you make mistake.
This is true.
And what I'm excited about is to share with other people and other couples that are getting into this journey. You will make mistake.
Yep.
And it is okay to make mistake when it is under the umbrella of grace and love and compassion.
So, as we stated, we did get married young. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what we got wrong, but not only because we got, married young. I think these topics that we're going to talk about today, to be honest, it's something that impacts any marriage at any stage, no matter how old you are. Like I said, we did get married at 18 and 19. And while we had love, we had commitment, we had good intentions, the reality is that we also got a lot wrong.
Yes. And that's what make us human. Many people, when they get married, they go with this expectation that everything will be perfect. And there will be seasons in your relationship that imperfect things will happen. I can think about one, for example, communication mistake.
Boy.
That's a big one.
Communication's always a pain. And let me tell you, we've been together over 30 years. We've been married, it's going to be 29 years. And boy, I think that's like a hot topic. Not only for us, but every couple that we communicate with, it's incredible. Communication is such a factor. And does anybody really get it right? I don't know. I think we try and we tweak it along the way. But it's a difficult thing, guys. I'm not gonna lie. There's constant mistakes that are made. One of them, and I think women are probably more prone to this, and it's that whole concept of expecting the husband to read your mind. And I've talked to him about this before. It's really funny, not to air dirty laundry or anything like that, but if there's like personality traits that you have to learn and develop and understand, right, from your spouses. I cannot expect him to know that if I left a bag of trash, for example, by the door, that means that it needs to be thrown away. Believe it or not everyone knows that. It's very common sense to me.
It is true. Sometimes you even walk, you see the trash,
Right.
and you walk around the trash. I said, well,
Yeah.
and if you think about it, that doesn't make sense.
No.
Right? Because there is no good reasoning behind, okay, maybe my wife is putting this over here for put more stuff in it. No, if it is closed already, it means meant to be thrown away. But the reality is that especially men are wired differently.
Yeah.
And the assuming to read your mind is one of the common mistake any couple
Yeah.
make.
It happens
This is
a lot.
this is common sense. That
Right.
we often use that phrase.
Right.
It is common sense
Yeah.
that if you see the trash, outside
Of the tank or
of the
whatever,
tank
right?
is because you wanted to for me
Whoever.
or whoever to throw it away.
Right.
It's a common sense, but sometimes we assume instead of articulating what
Correct.
we want.
And I used the trash as an example, but really it could be in anything. But I feel like sometimes, especially the ladies, we do tend to expect our husbands to know, and understand what we need, and we have to do better in that regard. I know I've been guilty of that. I think I've gotten a little bit better. I'm not gonna say I've completely overcome that, but I have to be mindful and remember that I don't have a little sign, that's constantly going through my forehead that he can read. There's no way to do that. And if I want something from him, I have to be able to tell him that, in a good way, right? So, what else is under communication mistakes?
Well,
My husband.
what about this area of hard conversations? Oftentimes, couples avoid hard conversations, and especially with family members. When we got married young, we lived with our parents.
Yeah.
And I remember one thing that it always bothered you, and not in a bad way, but you wanted to do things certain way or prepare food a certain way or have it there for me when I was out to, and someone else come in the family and saw the food and just grab the food and eat it, and some of those things, there are hard conversation that
Yeah.
needs to happen. Like I know when you watch dishes, you one of the things that you dislike, and I don't know, ladies, about you guys, but when we watch dishes, we wash the dishes and put it away. For my wife, that's a capital sin, and that's a big no. They have to be dry.
Right?
That makes sense. That makes sense. But those are hard conversations sometimes. It's hard conversation don't have to be. They don't have to be something detrimental. Sometimes
Right.
it's something simple that bothers you. For example, the toilet paper.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Guys, this is a reality, and ladies, this is a reality. When we are in charge of putting the toilet paper in the what is it
The
called?
holder.
Yeah, in the holder. We don't care how it looks as long as it's functional and we are able. My wife had to look. The toilet paper had to look certain way. So.
It has to be facing forward,
It doesn't matter.
It
In reality, it doesn't
matter.
matter.
See? This is what we're talking about.
We still have that, but here is the thing. You have to be able to communicate. Hard conversation not necessarily be
Yeah.
something intense, but something that bothers you. Then it creates more opportunity for you to be uncomfortable. I remember someone said to me one time, it is not the big things that create disruption in a marriage. In fact, when we go through big trauma and we have been through some hardcore season, we actually come more together.
Yeah.
But it's the little sands in our shoes who nobody sees, nobody talks
rubbing.
about it. It's rubbing, and it
Yeah.
created a discomfort and displeasure, and that is what. At the end of the day, even the Bible says it is not the big things who create an issue. It's the little fox that come into the field. It's the little things. It's the little disappointing. It's the little.
Yeah, they start adding up.
Yeah.
They start adding up. They start adding up. And because you don't want to cause a rift, or you don't want to be uncomfortable, or you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, you kind of just put it aside and just don't touch it. And honestly, that also starts creating a separation in between the marriage. Because one person could be upset about that. The other person has no idea. And then the imagination comes into play, right? Oh, well, they're mad at me. Why are they mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Did I not do something wrong? It's that, and then it starts creating doubt. So yeah, sometimes you just have to buckle down and just stop avoiding it. Just have the conversation, be open. Say, hey, honey, there's something that's bothering me and I just need to tell you this because, again, we can't, especially ladies, like I mentioned before, we cannot expect them, or them to be able to read our minds. And it goes the other way as well. Like, unless we voice it, it's not going to get fixed. It's only going to create a bigger rift between the couple. And it's going to be a bigger rift in you because you're still carrying around this thing that bothers you, right? Over and over and over again.
Yes.
So, yeah, moving. How about, like, instead of having that conversation, texting you or writing you a letter?
Oh, well. At one point or another, I think you can use that to a degree, but there is nothing better than face-to-face conversation because emails, texts.
You lose a personal.
Well, actually,
thing.
you cannot see the person.
Right.
You cannot actually. It's so impersonal that a person on the other side of the receiving side
Right.
can interpret whatever they
Yeah.
can and they want to, and so
Well, perspective,
I
right?
do remember when we have our Jesus moment and when we don't fight, we have intense fellowship. So when we have our
Intense
intense fellowship, because my wife work in a different way she's wired in a different way, and she had to put sometimes her thoughts in writings. Sometimes actually have been very effective when we have not come to a resolution right away in our issue, and you put it in writing and you send it to me and you said, this is what I was trying to tell you. This is what I was trying to say to you.
But hold on. So that's important because yes, I put it in writing, but there wasn't a follow-up. There was a follow-up. There's this, okay, here's this letter or here's this text. Let's talk about it. Because so that's key right there. I think that's key.
Yes.
We have to at some point add that face-to-face type of communication, because even when it's in good intentions, sometimes you have misinterpreted what I've written, and I'm like, no, that's not what I meant at all. So then if you just leave it like that and there's no touchback, right, there's no connection again, there's no clarification, there's no like, hey, did you get what I was trying to tell you? Like, this is what I'm trying to say. And you can express to me, okay, what I understood as XYZ, and that never happens. What about if you read something completely opposite?
Yes, and the biggest issue is when people are using the tools of email or texting just to avoid face-to-face communication, and nothing replaces face-to-face communication. In fact, I was reading couple months ago about Jesus when he called the Pharisees empty tombs, and he have some harsh language that he uses on them. But it's so interesting, commentators are saying about that occasion that people took it well because they could see in Jesus' face his compassion and his willingness to love them and to work with them. So it is not what you say. It encapsulate everything. But your body language,
Right.
if you have your hands like this,
Right.
or if you have a more
Open. Right.
that all of that
Yeah.
played a big role in communication.
Like body language is super important. Other mistakes like listening to respond
Oh yes.
instead of listening to understand.
Now,
What?
now we have to be real with each other, and I think that the beauty of doing this is that we are not trying to say that we are perfect.
No.
We have had moments that we are more me than my wife. And I have to admit that. That is, I'm trying to respond instead of listening to what she's saying. And I'm trying to respond because I want it to be proven right.
Right. That's
At that
usually what
moment.
happens.
And
Yeah.
not to see, okay, let me see if I
Her
understand
point.
where she's coming
Or
from.
his point, right.
And that plays a big role. I don't know. I don't know what is your intake on that, but
I think it's frustrating when you're trying to say something and you haven't even finished your thought and the other person's already jumping, assuming that they know what direction you're going or what you're trying to say. Well, I go back to that thinking that you can read my mind, but sometimes in those situations you act like you can read my mind even though you can't.
yeah, that is true. That is true.
See? And so I think it's important, going back to that, you can read other people's minds, just stopping for a minute. I think it's hard not to get defensive and when you're trying to communicate. And being defensive while you're trying to communicate with each other adds a lot of different layers that really impact the outcome of the conversation and its direction. Like if I am assuming already without even completely listening to where you're going and what you're trying to express, and I am just jumping the gun, I am just assuming that you're going to say XYZ and I just don't even let you finish. I take it upon myself to respond back something that had nothing to do with what how do you feel?
No, you're absolutely right. It's and in communication, one of the things that we need to understand, and we are still learning this process. At least myself, I'm still learning. You have to have always this open-minded concept.
Right.
I could be wrong.
Right. The potential, right?
The potential that I
Right.
could be wrong. No one likes to be wrong. In fact, you feel inadequate. You feel
Right.
You don't
You're
feel good.
uncomfortable.
You don't feel good
Yeah.
when
You're uncomfortable.
But you have to have the ability to lower your pride.
Right.
Everybody have pride,
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to say, okay, let me slow down and see what she's saying, which it brings me to another point. I think there is a moment. Solomon says there is time under the sun for everything, and including battles with your spouses. Not battles, intense fellowship.
Intense fellowship.
You have to choose the right moment, because when you and it happens to me when I'm not in a good headspace, it is very easy to latch out and to say things that I don't mean, or listening to respond instead of listening to understand.
Yeah.
And that is a common mistake that everybody does. The good news is, the older you get, you should have emotional maturity to a degree to be more careful in knowing yourself, when to engage in a difficult conversation, or
And please don't keep score. Like,
oh yes,
don't be when you're in arguments, or it impacts your communication so much when you're keeping score. This is not about who wins and who loses. At the end of the day, if you're not communicating well, you're both losing.
yes.
This is not a win-lose situation, and it does nobody any good.
And if there is something that I truly appreciate you, baby, is the fact that we could have a disagreement with something, but I don't see you coming back to me and says, "You remember when you did this?" Especially ladies tend to keep a score more than men. Men forgive and things like that more quickly. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But keeping score doesn't make you better. In fact, the Bible says that when God forgive us, He says, "I will remember no more."
Yeah.
And that concept is so beautiful. Think about we could have disagreement of something or have a big issue in our life, and it says, "I'm not keeping score." Now, that doesn't mean that you would not use moments like that for a learning purpose.
Right.
Yes, because
Right.
sometimes you go through a situation that it was painful. You don't erase it from your mind right away, but at the same time you can go back to that moment and actually learn from it. I remember this quote of this brilliant mind that says this: "Life is lived forward, but it's only understood backward."
Yeah, that's a really cool quote.
And that is powerful if you
Yeah.
think about it,
Yeah.
because something you look forward, but you
Your
learn
experiences.
you learn from
The experiences
from
you've
the-
lived.
from the-
Absolutely.
from the back.
So, what about unspoken expectations?
Yes.
When you're young, we were talking about this in the last podcast a little bit, that I don't think we ever set expectations. And it's interesting to me that we never even thought about it. I mean, like, I don't really remember thinking, oh, I need to establish these boundaries and tell him, like, I'm going to be the one to cook and maintain the house, and you're going to be the one to, like, go out and pay bills and blah, blah, blah. Like, that never really happened. But when you're talking about, like, growing and maturing within your marriage, I think the expectations is important, but then there's a set of unspoken expectations that create sometimes, like, bad blood.
Yes.
Right? Like, you should naturally know, what I need, how we go back to what we were talking about before, assuming that he can read my mind, assuming that he knows, what I need at any given time. And that's not an expectation that anybody can, grow into. That's just craziness, right? I don't even know. To be honest, like, I'm thinking and my mind is going, do we have that? Like,
I think you really good.
I can't even I really can't think of a moment.
You actually really good in that area, and that's something that I really appreciate. You are an open book when it comes to let me know what you want, what you don't like, and what you expect. And guys, this is for real. This is real conversation. A lot of couples, especially in the intimacy part,
Oh, absolutely.
that is the biggest issue.
Yes.
Because sometimes you can assume that something is going well, and your spouse is expecting something else.
Correct.
You don't have a way to read your mind.
Right.
Let them know.
Right.
It's okay to let them know.
And to set expectations.
My wife let me know, hey, I like it like this, or can we do this, or I was thinking about this. That is normal. That is how it should be.
Well, you're keeping those lines of communication open in every aspect of your life, because, like we said before, you cannot expect someone to be able to read your mind.
I remember doing a counseling session one time at church with a couple, and this couple was telling me, the lady was telling me right in front of her husband.
Yeah.
She said, I have been married for so long. I have never have satisfaction in bed to the point that I am fully satisfied. And the guy was blown away.
He didn't. He had
He
no
did,
clue.
he have no idea.
Wow.
He have no idea. So, and in fact, they were great couple, and they were in a good headspace, so to speak. And I remember that he broke down and said, "Baby, why you never tell me
Yeah.
certain things?" And I think we should in our marriage we should not have any restriction, if you will, when it comes to letting us know what we need.
Well, I mean, that's horrific. First of all, and it's not fair to to your partner, right? It would be unfair of me to set these sets of expectations in my head and never really share them with you. Like, how can you even try to meet whatever it is that I need if I never tell you? Like, that's just crazy to me.
And another thing in that area is that as you grew in your relationship, as time passed by,
Right.
things changes.
Right.
What you like when you were 18 is not the same thing that you're
Yeah.
gonna like when you get 20, 29 or 30 or 40. Your expectation changes. And,
Because you're growing and you're maturing.
and if you
and-
don't talk with your
Right.
partner, there is no way. They said, "Baby, I like it. I like to eat this kind of food, for example. But that was your favorite food." Yes, 10 years ago.
Right. You know,
I'm no longer-
I the colors that I like, all of a sudden I've noticed, and we talked about this the other day. We were having dinner, and our son was asking me, "Mom, what's your favorite color?" And I was like, And then he looked at his dad and he's like, "Dad, you should know this." And so you answered correctly. What did you say?
Green.
Yeah, and then you also said what? It used to
But
be.
it used to be red.
That's right. This is why I brought that up. Because, when I was young, I loved the color red. And it's not that I don't like it anymore, but I love the color hunter green. And even in that process, I've realized that I tend to have a lot of favorite colors. So I don't even have one, I have several. But that's just a simple example of how much you grow and you change. Your same likes don't stick with you your entire life. Your taste buds change, the way you see life changes.
Especially when you get pregnant, because
Yeah.
when you get pregnant, through all the pregnancy, I remember my wife used to love certain kind of food.
Right.
Give you an example. She used to love lamb. That was one of your favorite food.
So sad.
And
That's not it anymore. I got pregnant with my oldest daughter and lamb went out the window. I couldn't even smell it.
yeah.
It was awful. And if for example, my mother-in-law, because at that time we lived with them, if I got home, she would like clean the whole house, spray everything, put candles on, open all the windows, all the doors. And as soon as I walked through, I just looked at her and I was like, "You made lamb." And she's like, "How do you even smell that?"
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyways, so you change. Not only pregnancies, you go through menopause. That's another addition of changes that happen, of your taste buds, of what you want, of whatever. So it's interesting. You do change. And I remember my mom worked for many years with this lady, and she used to tell my mom all the time, because she was older, she used to tell her, every 10 years you change. Every 10 years you change, she used to say. And in that change comes a complete revamp almost of who you are, and your identity changes a little bit along that time frame. So
your character change,
Yeah.
your physical
approach.
body changes.
your approach to certain things.
The way you see life
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
And you have a whole bunch
How
of
about
change.
talking about change? What about, and I know we kind of veered off a little bit, but what about so we have 3 children, right? the first one and the second have 5 years, a 5 year
Apart.
gap, and then that one and my youngest have about 21 months apart, right? And so between the way we brought up our oldest daughter to how we have brought up our son, there's like a 7 year gap between my oldest and my youngest. How much did we change?
Yeah, and we yes. I used to be a good-looking guy. I tell you,
Keep saying this.
yes,
I don't know what's happening here.
but things change. You, on the other hand, have not changed. You're beautiful.
Oh boy, he's definitely
beginning.
he's trying to get points. Thank you, babe.
But even we were talking the other day something very curious. The way babies were put to bed
yes.
in our time.
Yeah.
We see our daughters
Yeah.
how she take care of the baby, and it's so scary. Sometimes I have to go away. I don't
Yeah,
wanna
things
say
are
this.
very different nowadays.
Yes.
Anyways, going back to unspoken expectations as we veered off into a different topic, but just going back to this, I think that, setting expectations in conflict, setting expectations in how we apologize to each other, setting expectations on, I don't even know, how we spend certain times apart. I think it's important to have the conversations, but I think it's also important to remember that your partner is not you. And although they're your partner, for us, we've been married 30 years, I'm still very different than he is in many ways. And he is very different than I am in many ways. And so that means that I have to be careful in what expectations I set on him, because I am very, I don't even know how to explain it. OCD, we'll just use that, even though I'm not diagnosed.
Yes, you are.
But I'm very picky about certain things, right? That stuff that's not who he is. Not because he doesn't care or whatever, but his attention is on something else. And so I have to give him some grace and not create the expectations that I have for myself on certain things of how things should be, to then put that on my partner, in this case you, and vice versa, right?
Yeah, I remember someone said at one point, especially with toilet paper, you remember, when I put the toilet paper in the opposite direction that my wife wanted it, one day we were talking about it, and she said, it bothers me, not you.
Right.
So why picking a fight?
Correct.
The only thing that I have to do is go ahead and flip it, and that will be it, because it bothers me, not you.
Right.
Which
is exactly what happens in our household, by the way.
That's exactly what happened. And to this day, I still misbehaving on that part.
No, I think you do better. I think it's now, because he knows it bothers me, he tries to do something with the toilet paper like I would prefer it. But it's not a natural thing. So unless he's really thinking about it, it doesn't matter. It's on. And for me, and this is what I usually tell him, I have learned and I have taught myself to focus on the other things. For example, he put the toilet paper on the holder instead of focusing on the fact that it's not the way I want it, right? Or he did the dishes, right? Instead of focusing on maybe he didn't organize the rack in the way that I would want it, or you did laundry. Because let me tell you, this man helps me in everything in the house. Not all the time, but he does.
But I do.
But he does. He helps me in everything. So instead of me focusing on the fact that, he didn't fold the shirt the way I want it to be folded, I need to remember that he did it. And I'm not going to say I always win that battle, because I have my days just like everybody else. But the reality is that I always try to focus on that instead of focusing on the other. And so that helps me not have false expectations that I'm putting on the other person, which is so unfair.
And you touch in something very important. We are two different people.
Right.
And when it comes to conflict resolution, for example, I am the type of person that when I have a conflict, I wanted to solve it right away.
Right. Yes.
And so resolving things immediately, or should we wait? What do you think about that? If I ask you, you bias on this, but
I am very biased because I'm the opposite of you.
should we resolve things immediately, or should we wait until we cool down?
I think there are situations that probably need to be resolved immediately because they're not big things, right? If I'm upset with you about toilet paper, we're just gonna keep using the toilet paper. But if I'm upset with you about toilet paper, that's something that we can probably talk about immediately. That's not so deep, right?
Yeah,
Babe,
yeah.
you put the toilet paper again facing the other way, right? And you're like, oh, well, but I put it in the holder, right? That's a conversation we can have immediately. But what about if it's something that's a huge impact, right? In our lives, and I think that just depends on what it is. For me, I always have to organize my thoughts before I try to manage any conflict, because I tend to have a hard time expressing things verbally. If I don't take the time to really organize my thoughts, what's coming out of my mouth is probably not going to make any sense. It might be more accusatory. I'm going to be like blaming him for something that has nothing to do even with the situation, because I'm frustrated and my head is jumbled up. My thoughts are jumbled. So that's not going to be an effective conversation, which is why a lot of times I'm like, I need time. Like, give me time. Let me process. Let me think. And we'll talk about it, but I need time. So with him is opposite. He needs to like have that conversation now, organize his thoughts now, because he needs to just get it out, clear it out, and move on with his life. I tend to hold it a little bit longer, for sure.
Yeah, and both things, both way have the disadvantage and advantage.
Yeah.
There are people that wanted to solve things immediately,
Yeah.
and it create a big fight because both of them are not in a good place.
Correct.
But on the other hand, other people, because they are not confrontational, they tend to linger the problem for a
Yeah.
long time, and that creates
That's not good.
emotional vacuums in
Yeah.
your relationship,
Yeah.
and hurt and discomfort. So
When it makes it harder to try and address something that happened so long ago, right? It's crazy. I think something important too is talking about intent, and impact. I think it's important to. I wanted to mention that because sometimes, like, we don't know the difference, and we need to address and clarify, right? When we're having a conflict, that, hey, my intent wasn't XYZ, right? I was not trying to embarrass you. I was not trying to put you down. I wasn't trying to make you feel inadequate. So it's important, I think, when you're trying to manage conflict, that at some point those things are clarified. I don't think we do that enough. We hear what the other person is saying and we get upset about it, but we never say, I hear you, but that was not my intent. I never meant for that. And also understand that even if that was not your intention, there's still an impact to your words or your actions, right? And you have to recognize that. Like, if I said something to him and I hurt his feelings, even if it wasn't my intent to hurt his feelings, I have to give him grace and understand that he was hurt. And I have to accept that. Understand that there was an impact to my words or to my actions, and recognize it and accept it and apologize for it, right? I think that goes a long way when you're in conflict and trying to de-escalate a situation or manage the conflict itself.
And also, this is something that we have to learn the hard way, and we're still learning this. Don't fight to win.
Yes.
Fighting to win, you
100%.
lose. Because when you fight to win, it's about you attacking the other person in order to win. But
Yeah.
when you are when you are facing a season of of trials and tribulation and moments of distress and moments of issues that needs to be confronted is us
Right.
fighting the problem.
Right.
It's not you fighting
Right.
me. And
that makes a huge difference.
unfortunately, we have done our share in
yes.
in that. We have to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a boxing match, guys. This is not you go to your corner, I go to my corner, and then we meet in the middle to beat each other up. If you're doing that, just stop. It's almost better to stop, go to your corners, take a breath, and then, meet in a neutral place. Whatever that might be. Maybe it's just sitting outside quietly with each other, just cooling down and taking a breather. It's important.
And that takes emotional maturity.
Yeah, it does.
Because I don't know if that happens to you, but it happens to me. I'm still maturing in that area, if you will. But sometimes when you go to conflict, it's like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna hurt you. And sometimes it's not that you want to be intentional in hurting the person, but you pick and choose what the other person is saying to build your case up. It's like a lawyer that you become a lawyer for yourself.
It's like, wait, I'm taking notes.
Taking notes.
That's right.
You say this.
Right.
Okay, you see, instead of seeing what is behind the
we talked about that earlier.
Because,
listening to really understand, not listening to respond.
Yes, because at the end of the day, if one of the couple is not happy, it's not gonna last if that keep being repeating and even the Bible put it this way: can two people be together if they are not one accord? Even if you don't have an understanding, okay, yes, this is something that happened, but we learn together, we tackle the issue together, we are better people now because we grew up and we learned.
Yeah, you mentioned emotional maturity, and again, guys, this is really we are older and we are wiser, and there's times that we still mess up, and we're like, we're too old for this, right? But when your emotions are high, or when you're upset about something, you really want to win, right? You want to go into battle, and that's just not the right thing. But as you gain emotional maturity, one of the things that I think is important is taking responsibility for the peace that you had when it came to the impact of the issue, right? Of the conflict. If I'm able to take responsibility for my actions, then like the other person, you're eliminating the fight. Right? You say this a lot. The minute you say I'm sorry,
argument is over.
The argument is over. Who are you going to fight with? Right? Yeah. And it's hard to do that. It is very hard to do that. Shifting blame is a lot easier than taking responsibility.
It's not that complicated for me. It's more complicated for you to say I'm sorry. But I guess I'm most of the time
he's trying
wrong.
To act like he's a nice guy all the time.
But the bottom line is I'm the one that said more I'm sorry than anybody else.
You say it quicker.
Yes, I say it quickly. That's true. That is true.
That doesn't mean I don't say
it.
I just take
you win. You win. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is not a good example. So, and tolerating discomfort.
Oh, that's a good one. Let me say something to you. It goes for women and also for men at the same time. But I never forget this. I'm a pastor, so every time I preach, I ask my wife how it was.
Why do you like to throw me under the bus?
No, it's the truth. I mean, we have an open conversation with our audience. We have to be honest. So sometimes I preach that it was a home run.
Yeah.
But there are other time that my wife comes really hard on me.
I don't come hard.
Yes, she
He
comes.
takes it hard.
Because you know, one thing is what you think and another thing is what other people think, and you say,
Yes.
man, that was my best sermon, and I come so pumped and
then
excited and happy, and I tell my wife, how was it? And she said, it couldn't be better, you have done better. So it deflate you a little.
I'm sorry.
But that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
What about this one? When your lady look at you and say, "Baby, how I look." That for men, that is a trap. Do not go into that trap.
How does this dress look on me?
Yes, you're trying to be honest, but at the same time,
It could end up being hurtful.
it could be being hurtful.
Right. Absolutely.
And sometimes you ask me that, and I say, "Baby, that doesn't look good on you," or I said, "That really look good on you," but you don't like it sometimes. Being honest.
Yeah. But the
But with
honesty
grace. Honest with
yeah,
grace.
I was just about to say you got to be honest, but you got to mind your words. I mean, don't be mean about what you're trying to say. Even though he's making it sound like I'm mean to him, I am not mean to him when I say these things. But if he's asking for my honest opinion, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, he's just making me out to be the bad guy here, and I'm not the bad guy. Anyway.
I'm sorry. See, practice that. You should practice that. That is a good thing to do.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, not making every disagreement a threat to the relationship. I'm gonna add also for the ladies. Ladies, I really, really recommend that you never ever use sex as a threat to your husband or divorce, and that goes for both men and women. Withholding sex. And I'm not saying that if you've been in an argument and you're upset with each other, ladies definitely don't
That is
want...
the best time to have sex, by the way.
No, it's
Yes.
not. Anyway, women don't want, you're probably like, okay, give me space, right?
Yeah.
But don't use that as a threat. Oh, now I'm gonna withhold. Now I'm not gonna give. Now you're gonna pay for it. Now you're gonna know. Don't do that. That's terrible. That is your time of the most intimate moment that you both become one. Don't use that against your partner. And then threatening with divorce. If every other word after an argument is we're gonna get divorced, you start creating in your mind an out.
exit strategy.
Yes, it's an out. And so you think that you're gonna last 30 years, 50 years, 60 years with that exit strategy. You're not, because you're already creating a comfort zone in your head little by little that at some point you're going to use, and you are going to be like, why did I do that? You did that because you've been feeding your head with that notion.
And that leads to understanding something, because sometimes some people, when they said this is not a good combination right now, this problem is too major, I'm thinking divorcing you and things like that, some of those things are real.
Yeah.
And here is what is leading me to say to you, feelings, your feelings are accurate, they are real, they are real
Yeah.
feelings, but not always accurate. You could have and you can acknowledge the feeling of someone. I know that you are upset about it, but not necessarily that means that she's correct or accurate
Right.
about something.
This is why, again, communication is so important. You don't fantasize or don't put a title to something that you haven't even have a discussion with your partner about. Don't let Satan stick things in your head, because he will. He will start putting things and doubts in your head. He did that because he wanted to hurt you, because he's intentionally, after you. Don't allow those things to fester. And when those thoughts come in, which, I mean, I'm not going to lie, that stuff has happened to me. I know it's happened to you because we've talked about it, and it's all of our own making. Because then when we talk about it, we're like, well, that was dumb on my part. right? Why did I even think that? That makes no sense. But in the moment, it sounded very accurate. It sounded exactly like what he was doing. Oh, he's doing this on purpose just to get back at me. He didn't even know what was happening. And here I am creating this whole idea in my head and making it fester, and then making it sound like if it was exactly why you did something or exactly, what it was.
And that comes to the part weaponizing
yes,
vulnerability.
yeah. That's
you
bad.
have every single person have their strong areas in their
Right.
life, what they can contribute very highly to the relationship, and also there are some other areas that you are not that proud.
Right.
Maybe some baggage that you carry with you from your
Insecurities.
insecurity,
Right.
traumas. It could be anything, but a good couple don't hunt or don't try to utilize to their advantage the weakness of your partner.
Right.
I think that is, if I think about that is an evil thing,
It is.
because
100%.
you wanted to. And by the way, you will not be better at everything. They are not perfect couple. And I said it again, love, the masterpiece of God for us is to put two imperfect people to make God's will perfect in our life.
Amen.
And
Yes.
and that is the key. So if you know that your partner is weak in an area, and you're strong in that area, you take the lead. Don't be afraid to say. For example, let me give you an example. For a long time, my wife used to take care of the bills, because when I was young, I was so immature. I couldn't get easily the check that I made for that week, and I spend it in 2 hours.
Yep. On anything.
In anything that it was irrelevant. For a season,
yeah. For a while.
You took control of the finances. You were more responsible. Now have shifted back to me. However, it is.
Now I am free of that job.
Interpret my side.
I was gonna say, can you see his not
Yes.
making any comments on that?
You should apologize for that part that you mentioned.
No.
But that's complement each other.
Yeah.
And it is okay to let your partner lead in the area that are strong. It's okay. That doesn't make you, and men oftentimes, especially men, have that. I'm the macho man. I have to take care of this. No, sometimes you have to take a lesser role, because your spouse is stronger in that other area, and it is okay.
Yeah.
It's not detrimental. It will not kill anybody.
No, that's part of partnership, right? And again, that's part of being able to grow together, mature together, rely on each other's strengths and weaknesses. If I know I have a weakness, and he has that strength, utilizing that. That's what a partnership is. So, absolutely. So, what about learning to grow together, like I mentioned, but specifically when it comes to the communication, how to, I don't know, like learn each other repeatedly. It's interesting in the years that we've been together, how much we've changed. So like I mentioned before, my mom's coworker, how she mentioned that every 10 years you change. I don't even know if 10 years is accurate, but I can specifically tell you specific times in my life that I changed. We were very young when I got pregnant with my oldest daughter. Well, I mean, we were young when we got married anyways, but, and I remember I instantly changed my mindset, knowing that I was pregnant and carrying a baby. It completely changed my outlook on life. But for men, usually it's not so instantaneous. A lot of times men change in that atmosphere when they see their child being born. And that moment, it becomes more real, right? I'm not saying it doesn't before, but there's a little bit of a difference. You as a mom automatically have this baby growing inside of you, and it's like this instinct to protect, this instinct to change, this instinct, that comes out of you immediately. And that was a change. Like, that was an immediate change. I don't think we talked about this in the last podcast, but again, because we were so young when we got married, something that you struggled in changing was leaving your friends behind.
Yes.
It
I was married, but I was still wanted to hang with my friend. And
well, he was a teenager.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But your priority changes.
Yeah.
Because
and it should change.
And it should change.
Yeah.
Your friends cannot call you at any time. Hey, let's go to this party, or let's do this and do that. If there is a room for developing friendship and continue to nurturing those relationships that you have outside the marriage, but the marriage become the priority. Is your mind is shifted now.
Right.
You are a responsible person now. And you have to land the plane, so to speak, and not live in a fantasy world that.
And so throughout that time, which is why I was saying what I was saying, it's important to offer grace and understand that your partner will be changing. We're not going to stay the same.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was that he got married to. I don't look the same, right? I don't think the same. I don't have the same outlook. I have I've learned things along the way. I hope that I've learned enough things that have changed in a good way. But there's definitely a lot of areas that you have to relearn who your partner is. And that's tough.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So you start your marriage with one person, and you will finish that marriage with a person that's completely different.
Now that you mentioned this, look at this quote that I just find. How beautiful this one.
Marriage is the golden ring in a chain whose beginning is a glance and whose ending is eternity. Wow.
It was reading.
Khalil Gibran. I gotta read that again. That's amazing. Yes. Marriage is the golden ring in a chain whose beginning is a glance and whose ending is eternity. Wow.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I love that.
And I love God. God is so smart. I tell you, God is so smart. When He put families together, He built family from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I think about the text that says, "He that begin the good work in you will carry that work forward, and He will complete it at the end."
Thank God for that.
Your marriage is not when you start. When you get married, is the beginning. It's not the end.
Right.
People that look back and have been successfully married and happy, because you can be married for a long time and be unhappy all your life. But people who have been successful in their relationship have learned the principle that through the year, as the year pass by, you become better and better and more seasoned in your relationship, and that comes with grace, that comes with love, that comes with compassion, that comes with a lot of forgiveness.
Yeah.
And that comes with a lot of forgetting what is behind me, and I'm moving forward. Because your partner will disappoint you. I disappoint my wife many times.
And I disappoint my husband.
And that's part of the process.
Yeah.
But we are committed to each other, and we say, you know what? I'm upset with you, or I'm not in my best moment right now with you.
Yeah.
But I still love you. I still stand in your grace. I still see you with gray eyes. And here is something, guys, especially for men, to understand this. Everything you do in your relationship that is good and it is pleasing before the Lord, it's always pleasing before the Lord, it's like it's like a bank account.
Yeah.
It's like a bank account, a saving bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Because when moments of distress come, when you lose your job, for example,
Right.
you pull money from the bank account. When you go into a season that your relationship is having a hard moment, what sustain you in those moments is the bank account.
Right.
It's those
It's what
those
you put
moments and
into
say, you
it.
know what? Yes, he disappointed me today, but during this whole week, look how many things he have done, and that creates grace.
Yeah.
That creates. But if you don't put anything in the bank account, and if the constant thing that you are doing is putting your account, your emotional account, your relational account in a negative,
Yeah.
that's why we have so many people saying, I don't remember anything good that person had done in my life.
That's kind of sad.
And living like that is in a miserable way.
Well, it's miserable and it's sad because I mean, you promise each other, to be together forever, and so yeah, it's kind of sad if you're doing that. It's like having plants and not watering them,
Yeah.
not giving them the attention that they need. So, I want to touch on something before we close tonight, and it's about understanding that attraction changes, and it changes from like you remember when we were young. And I don't know, it seems like when you're younger, the attraction is there, everything is faster, it's more energizing, it's more thrilling per se or whatever. But and I'm not saying that I feel like sometimes we are still those kids in a lot of ways.
But
Like,
we start to slow down.
well, when we shifted, there's like there's a shift now of what attraction is, because you're more cemented, you're more mature, and we're getting older. And it's not that the other piece is not important, it is, but other things take more value, right? Like I value a lot, and I've told them this before, I don't have to stress, and it's not just about me having to pay bills, okay? It's that even though I work and I contribute to my home, right, and I join him in our savings and bringing in money and all that, I really don't have to stress. I don't have the bigger weight of that on me. Yeah. And I've always told him I appreciate that, because I think if I was this old and I still had to carry the weight of the responsibility within the home, I think I would be upset about that. I don't want that. I shouldn't have to carry that. So I use that as an example because the attraction changes. To me, that's very attractive right now. That he takes that responsibility. And I'm not saying I'm not going to help him, or I'm not going to contribute, or I'm not going to be his partner in this regard. But at the end of the day, I don't have the major responsibility. And I don't know if you have a concept to share, like from your perspective.
No, you're absolutely right. I think you are on point on that.
It just changes. Everything changes. So, just a closing thought for today. Growth is part of the process. So don't forget that. Part of growing together and learning how to grow together is just part of your everyday. So growth is part of the process, and it doesn't mean your marriage is failing. It means it's developing. We're not, it's like that concept of God is not done with us yet. I don't know if you've heard this concept from Max Lucado that talks about God's not done with you yet. That little story of the caterpillar for the kids that turns into a butterfly. Your marriage is constantly with like a caterpillar. And it takes some time before it turns into a beautiful butterfly. But we're constantly growing. We're constantly shifting. And we're constantly developing.
And this quote to close, it says, marriage isn't about never getting things wrong. It's about choosing grace, patience, and love while growing together through every mistake.
Amen.
And that's something.
That's beautiful.
What make us great is not the moment of success in our life. In fact, someone said, if the mountain would be smooth, no one would climb it.
That's right.
It takes rough moments in our life to
get to the peak.
Get to the peak. And we're heading there.
We're heading there.
By the grace of God.
Thank you for joining us again for We Grew Up Married. If this conversation encouraged you, share it with another couple who could use it. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. We'll see you next time right here as we continue growing together. See you guys.
Bye.